Welcome to Origin Stories, your weekly source for comic book media news. This is a place for your non-hype driven weekly news resource if you fancy yourself a comic book geek, guru, or even a fanboy. So let's start out this week with a downer. This week, the geek community lost, well, one of our favorite people in the whole world, Mr. Bill Paxton. There are very few performers who can make an indelible impression upon multiple generations of people the way he did. There are even fewer that can make characters so layered, dramatic, and comical. Bill was one of those guys. He'll be missed by the whole community. For those that don't remember or aren't terribly versed in who Bill Paxton was, most recently he was part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and ended up as part of the Deathlock project at the end of Season 1. So, Godspeed, Bill. Tons of Inhumans casting news. A week after the announcement that Game of Thrones veteran Ewan Round, I probably butchered that name, is going to become the villainous Maximus the Mad on the series, more news comes from Entertainment and Deadline. The first up, that Arson Mount of Hell on Wheels has been cast as the leader of the Inhumans royal family, Black Bolt. This was followed up with Serinda Swan, remember her from Smallville, as Zatanna? Well, she has been cast as Black Bolt's queen and Inhuman hero Medusa. And finally, Ken Lau in the role of the Inhuman warrior Karnak. So the family is filling up. I expect the rest of the cast to fill out in the next week or two, with shooting to start any time to make that fall release date. But when are we going to get the important question answered? Where's Lockjaw? Well, the Inhuman rivals are getting their stuff together too. The upcoming Fox X-Men pilot follows parents forced to go on the run to protect their family when they discover their teenage child has mutant powers. True Blood Stephen Moyer has been cast as Father Reed, Amy Acker will play the mother Kate Stewart, and finally Emma Dumont, a Geek Genre fan from Buffy and Angel, will be Lorna Dane, aka Polaris. Rounding out the new cast is Percy White as one of the teens struggling to control his mutant power, and Sean Teal will play Marcos Diaz, aka Eclipse. It said Eclipse will have powers to absorb and manipulate photons, which sounds a lot like a variation of Sunspot to me, so I'm excited. Chris Pratt joined Jimmy Kimmel this week and dropped a new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The trailer gives us a couple new scenes and some confirmation of some plot points that have been thrown out, but the biggest reveal has to be the first appearance of Kurt Russell as Star-Lord's dad, Ego. You should go check it out. Here's a link to it below. Can't wait to see it, and only a few more months until the May 5th, 2017 release date. Biggest movie ever? Chick-fil-A's CEO and Pinewood Atlanta Studios co-owner Don Cathy announced at the African American Film Critics Association this week that, quote, "We now have on the lot down there the largest film production ever with a $1 billion budget." Due to the studio agreements, Cathy could not name the film, but Marvel's Infinity War and its sequel are filming back-to-back currently at Pinewood. Now, to me, $1 billion does sound like a lot of money, but keep in mind, this is 2 movies, and it may also include the advertising budget. Marvel's never gone over about $250 million for each of their movies in the past, so I really have a hard time believing that both films will total $1 billion just for production. So what do you guys think? Is $1 billion too much? Is that exaggerated? Or is that about what you would expect this whole production to cost? Let me know in the comments below. Cumberbatch eases a few worries for the fans. We all heard the rumors that Cumberbatch was going to be replaced by a stand-in for Avengers Infinity War. Well, in a recent interview, Cumberbatch himself debunked those claims, but it still kind of sounds like he won't make it to Atlanta while everybody else is there. He actually said, and I quote, "I think it's a bit of an exaggeration. There's a great deal that can be done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or any comic universe, whether it's hiding a pregnancy to having someone there who's on the other side of the world, but there's only so much they can do without you, so don't worry, I'll be there." Let's get on to a little DC news. Looks like we're getting some thunder and lightning on Black Lightning. CW's upcoming Black Lightning TV series has added 2 more to its cast to put opposite Cress Williams as Jefferson Pierce. Nafessa Williams will play Pierce's oldest daughter, Anissa, who's described as passionate and quick-witted, balances demands of medical school with her job and part-time teaching at her father's school. China Anne McClain has signed on as a younger Jennifer, who becomes involved in criminal gang activity and forces her father to suit up as Black Lightning once again. Now, the exciting part of all of this is Anissa and Jennifer, in the comics at least, follow in their father's footsteps and become Thunder and Lightning. If there's success in the show, I'm almost sure that they're going to do this. I look forward to it. Well, we got the sword fighting footage the other week of Aquaman, but this week another bit actually dropped. Now, this bit was from Zack Snyder himself and actually gave us a little preview of Aquaman. In the video, which is very brief, it actually just shows Aquaman swimming up to some unidentified figure. This could be Orm, his villainous brother, or maybe even just a statue of Poseidon. I don't think the footage is enough really to pass any judgment on the CGI at this point, but I do have to admit, I absolutely like what I see. We got a new segment this week for you called Top of the Stack. Now, Top of the Stack is going to be a comic recommendation each week from Geeks Worldwide. So go check out the GWW.com, read some of their reviews, and check here every week for an update. So this week, for Top of the Stack, we're going to talk about Batman number 18, The Fork in the Road. Batman 18 arrives on the heels of preceding issues as part of the I Am Bane story arc that sees Tim King dealing with all these A-list villains. As a reader, it feels good to arrive at this moment, mostly because King is doing interesting things with this showdown, foregoing the usual plot points or pointing out however powerful Bane really is. In 18, we really get a compelling look at this hero and villain as they stand side by side through the years. There's a fine recommendation from GWW and a killer review on the site from Mark Delaney if you want to read the whole review. I seriously love the contrasting stories here, so I have to recommend you go grab it, and that is the reason it's at the top of the stack. That's all the time we have for this week. If you like this episode, give us a subscribe. And don't forget, you can be part of our other show, Ask the Council. Tweet your questions to @ComicCouncil, and we'll get your questions on the next episode. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Peace.